When I was younger, I used to think leaving home meant I was leaving everything behind. Leaving the quiet, leaving the gravel roads, leaving the fields that turned gold in October, leaving the people who'd watched me grow up. And I worried, the way a lot of kids worry when they pack the backseat of a car and drive toward a life that looks nothing like the one they came from. I worried most about my parents. Who was going to check on them? Who was going to shovel the walk? Who was going to notice if the kitchen light stayed off too long or the phone went unanswered? Funny thing about towns like Maroa, you don't really notice how much love sits under the surface until you step away. Because here's what I learned, slowly, and then all at once. In Maroa, leaving home doesn't mean you left your people. It means your people closed in around the ones you love, tighter than before. When my parents needed a driveway cleared, someone did it before they even asked. When they needed a ride to an appointment, somebody's cousin's neighbor was at the door with the truck running. When the weather turned bad, the town officer checked in just to make sure. And when something serious happened, a fall, a scare, a moment that made the world feel suddenly fragile, the fire chief, whichever generation of the Peasley family had stepped up to carry the torch that year, was already on his way. Not because it was dramatic, because it was Maroa. But the people who saved my parents more than anyone else, the neighbors. The quiet ones you wave to every day without really knowing their plans, or what kind of coffee they drink, or who they voted for, or what their middle name is. In towns like ours, neighbors become something more than neighbors. They become the ones who notice, the ones who show up, the ones who treat your parents like they're their parents. And I'll be honest, one of the boys I grew up with was someone I barely talked to in school. Not friends, not enemies, not anything dramatic, just two kids whose lives didn't overlap much. But years later, that kid, that almost stranger, and his wife, checked on my parents every single day. More faithfully than I ever could. More gently than I ever expected. I owe him and her more than I could ever repay. And then there's the cafe, the unofficial guardians of every parent in town. They make sure nobody pays twice. They make sure nobody orders wrong. They make sure your mom gets the right pie, even if she swears she didn't want any. And if they think someone needs a nudge to head home before the weather turns, they'll walk them to the door and watch until the taillights disappear. Little things, everyday things, the things that keep a town running without anyone noticing. One day, after years of living away, it finally hit me. I didn't leave my parents alone. I left them in the safest place they could ever be. A place where people wave even when they're going 60. A place where visiting means sitting at a table until the coffee goes cold and someone finally says, well, guess we ought to head home. A place where nobody stays forgotten. I don't know if every town is like this. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But Maroa raised me in ways I didn't understand until long after I left. So if this sounds like a thank you note, that's because it is. To the town officer, to the Peasleys, who always show up when the pager goes off, to the neighbors who became family, to the cafe ladies who kept watch whether I was home or not, to everyone who stood in the gaps I couldn't reach. You let me grow up. You let me move on. And somehow, you never stopped being home.